Put me in the game, coach.
I'm ready to go. Just give me a chance.
Just give me a chance.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what is going to be probably the worst pre-show we've ever done. This is a pre-show for Outcast Pro Wrestling's No Regrets. I am, of course, the Egyptian Death Machine and the AC of Wrestle Plug. Shithousery master that is, of course, Aaron Nix. Now, joining me, it can't be the virus because he is currently prepping to shove many digits up Rudy Roo's cornhole. So, in his place, we have somebody far more, shall we say, streetwise. Yes, indeed. We have the immovable fridge freezer, the drinker of Bacardi Breezer, the consensual panty line teaser, and of course, the full-time geezer that is Ebenezer the Geezer. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much for having me back, sir. This is just going to be a regular occurrence now, isn't it? I am the substitute.
The substitute. Don't get it twisted. Carl Wilkinson has officially been thrown into the wank dungeon with Tanvir Verdi and will not be seen for many months. And for all the Outcast Pro Wrestling fans watching this for the first time going, who's Tanvir Verdi and why does he have a wank dungeon? You'll need to check out our regular programming. So we have 6 matches on tap for this Thursday night. When you're watching this, it will be tomorrow night. Of course, it will be at Fever and Boutique Nightclub in Newport, Isle of Wight. It will start at a prompt 9 o'clock. I believe doors are at 8:30. Tickets are still available at £8, and tickets will also be available on the door. £8 to watch 6 matches? Well, they're obviously going to be rubbish then if it's that price. You would be highly mistaken. We're going to start with what should be a very unique one-on-one matchup. Jackson Arrow, the brand new GM and, of course, owner, proprietor, and overall Dick Cheese of Outcast, faces one of the best technical wrestling talents and young talents that British wrestling has to offer in the current format, of course, Maverick Mayhew. How do you see this one going down, sir?
This is going to be full of flips and dips. Like, it's going to be a sort of a toughie because it's a low-ceilinged venue. So there's not going to be as much flying about, but it's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be technical. Like I've had and got so much respect for Maverick Mayhew for how far he's come. I used to do not train with him because he's done so many more years than I have. But I used to go to IPW shows where he was a regular and he was there I can't remember what the Z Force champion, and he was just a fantastic person to be around. He was such a lovely guy, and obviously Matt Jackson, one of our faves as well, one of our besties. What an absolute pleasure, both guys, and this is going to be an absolute steamroller of a match. That should be the entrance fee just alone.
Yeah, there are 4 matches on this card that easily are worth £8 just by themselves. It's like any wrestling is worth £8, but when you factor in, the venue, by the way, live bar, of course, because it's a nightclub, so get liquored up, have a good time. It's 18 plus, so feel free to express yourself in the way you would wish to. This is going to slap. This is going to be the proverbial banger. The low ceiling, I don't think really affects Maverick Mayhew that much. I've been watching him a lot for Rumble recently, where I'm working a lot, as you know, and he had this incredible match with Nero for the Mal Mason British Lightweight Championship. He is technically sound and he has an incredible ground game, much better even than Jackson Arrow, who is very proficient himself in the technicalities and the fundamentals of pro wrestling. So I expect this to be as close to flawless in terms of wrestling as you can get. Do you hazard a guess as to who wins on the night?
Oh, it all depends, because if Jackson's got his security out there, I reckon
he does. Breaking news: security. Drew Wilson, the security for Jackson Arrow, will be in the house and will be at the corner of Jackson Arrow.
Yes. In which case, I'm going with Jackson and Drew.
Of course you are, you Mark. Fucking Mark. Nerd. Oh, shout out to our boy Fresh Katie. Fucking nerds. I feel if Jackson Arrow is going to lose a match, which he doesn't often do, this might be the one. I think the environment, works for Maverick Mayhew. The crowd's going to be behind him because obviously they don't like Jackson. The technical ability, I think, is behind him. Of course, the X factor is your boyfriend in tow. That is, of course, Drew Wilson. If he gets as much interference as he would like and can cause enough of a distraction and do what he does best, which is basically pester the referee, shout out to our boy Damien, then there's a very good chance that Jackson Arrow could pretty much cruise this. But nonetheless, the actual quality of wrestling is going to be fantastic. Let's shift gears to some tag team action. Now, there has been a lot of shifts around in tag teams in general. The tag team wrestling division has suffered a little bit via injury when it comes to Outcast Pro Wrestling. However, they do have a tag match lined up. And now, obviously, you were at their last show and you got to see the incomparable Izzy Adams pick up his first ever win. I'm not saying it's coincidence, but you know, Ebenezer goes to Outcast, all of a sudden Izzy Adams picks up a win. However, Ebenezer will not be in the house for this. So how will Izzy Adams do when he partners with Ajax versus HJ Williams and Scott Corrine? Now, you obviously are privy to Izzy Adams and HJ Williams because you saw them both wrestle live. However, Scott Corine and Ajax, can't help but say Ajax all the time, very annoying. Dennis Burkamp. The bottom line is that those two you've only really had access to via our watch-alongs, which of course are also live on the Wrestle Plug channel. Now, if you haven't seen those and you're thinking, haven't seen much Outcast, we actually have done 3 commentary/reaction videos, which we call watch-alongs for Outcast Pro Wrestling. They're all available on the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel, and I highly recommend you check those out in due course. How do you see this one going? Do we see Izzy Adams picking up another win? Do we see him cruising on forward, riding the wave of emotion and momentum after picking up his first win from Victor Logan, or does he crash at the first available opportunity?
Personally, I don't, like you say, I don't really know much about the other boys. So, and I only know Izzy Adams because the last show I went to, like you say, he picked up that win, and it was such a great reaction from the crowd. Everyone was going absolutely bananas for it, and it was really nice to see because I didn't realize that he was on this losing streak. So when I see everyone go off their nut, and then someone said about it, I was just like, do you know what? Well deserved. And I was like, roll up for the win as well. It was a perfect way to do it, I think. But I believe that this is going to give him the fire to carry on winning. You know, I don't think it's going to be one and done. I think he's now ready to go on to be somewhat of a megastar in Outcast. I think he deserves to start going on performing like, you know, one of the big bucks. Start going on as one of the best heels in the best faces in the company. Sorry.
I think Izzy Adams has so much untapped potential. Incredible mover, incredible worker, hard hitting despite his slight kind of build. He can hit hard, and pairing him with Ajax is very interesting because, you know, we have a bit of a joke and a laugh about his name, but the reality is this kid can hit hard. We saw him almost decapitate Alex Kent on Arnold Warfare. He doesn't mind throwing a lariato, and if he can do that against especially someone like Scott Corine, for me, the key here is to isolate Scott Corine because, with all due respect, he is the smallest man in the matchup by far, physically. And some might argue he hasn't quite hit the ground running yet. He's still a little bit kind of green around the ears, you know, greener than a pepper tree, as they say. Whereas HJ Williams, even though he is quite new at this, he is a unit of a man. The man can hit a devastating flying headbutt from the middle rope. He is a dangerous asset, and he's also a hard-hitting asset. So what they need to do is isolate Scott Corine so that HJ Williams can't run havoc because he's the powerhouse in this matchup. But nonetheless, I'm just excited to see this because I feel like, you know, a lot of people are going to sleep on this match, but Izzy Adams genuinely deserves a lot of admiration and a lot of eyeballs because nobody works harder. I've been in the ring with Izzy Adams. I absolutely flattened the poor kid. But he's the first person to meet me out of the gate when I make my debut at Outcast. He comes flying in and punches me square in the fucking mouth. And I respect that more than I do a lot of people because he could have easily shied away. A lot of people seem to be ducking and diving. This kid's literally waiting in the middle of the ring for everybody. No fear whatsoever. Zero miedo, as Pentagon says. I hope and I pray and I will predict that Izzy Adams picks up the win here and continues to ride that wave of momentum. Because if he does, you got to say, after a while, you might be looking at a potential contender for the Outcast Heavyweight Championship. Might be a long time down the line, but this kid's got the potential. He's got the star power. If he can just, fine tune everything that's going on. So I've got Izzy Adams. Who do you think picks up the win, mate?
Izzy Adams, definitely.
There you go. We're all aboard the Izzy Adams bandwagon here at Wrestle Plug. Now, shifting gears once again. The women's champion, Lunatrix, has her work cut out for her here. No doubt one of the most talented women in all of professional wrestling. However, she's going back to the pool of intergender combat. And she will be facing, yes, indeed, we love intergender wrestling here. We don't have an issue with it because we're not a bunch of fucking melts. Now then, and if you do have
equal rights.
Yes, indeed. Equality means proper equality. So Lunatrix will have the, shall we say, somewhat interesting challenge of one half of arguably the best tag team in British wrestling, the Rebellion. She will be facing Taylor James. How do you see this one panning out? Does Lunatrix pick up another fantastic win in her incredible arsenal of intergender matches, or does she get slapped around and dominated by one of the most experienced and most deadly wrestlers on the scene right now?
See, I haven't seen anything of her intergender stuff, so it's one of them. I don't know how whether she changes her strategies or anything.
You hit hard.
I've heard that she does really well against male competitors, and she picks up a lot of wins against them. But I think this time round, I reckon, Taylor's just going to come in, show everyone at Outcast how it's done, and I think he's going to win the women's championship.
We do not know yet whether this will be for the women's championship. Now, if you believe in true equality, why not? Can you imagine the seismic shift?
The scenes. I can see the pints being thrown everywhere.
I would love to see a full-blown ECW style chairs in the ring, the whole lot, if Taylor James captures the women's championship from Lunatrix. We're not promising you a women's title match, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to see on the day, but I wouldn't hold your breath if I know what the promoters and the management team are like, because even they aren't that crazy. I personally would absolutely make this for the women's championship.
For shits and giggles.
With the belt potentially not on the line, we assume, about 99% sure of that. I'm thinking, it's a tough one to call. I really like Lunatrix. I think that she is an incredible talent. She's now the CWP Women's Champion as well as the OPW Women's Champion. So she's collecting gold wherever she goes. She's making a massive play for working on the mainland more. She's worked at CXW. She just recently went to war with Aaron Warnes, who is one of your future opponents, and of course Rudy Roo, who she knows very, very well. But she's also somebody who has trained consistently with just men. Mm-hmm. So she works I think there's no better compliment for a women's wrestler than to say, in many ways, that they work like the men do. Because ultimately we're looking for equality here. We want to be able to say Lunatrix works like a wrestler.
Uh-oh.
Is she ringing you?
Who's ringing who?
Oh, no, it's Matt Jackson calling me right now, ladies and gentlemen.
His ears must be burning.
His ears must be burning. I'm afraid Matt Jackson will have to wait. Unfortunately, we're not editing that out. That is fantastic. He's like, you get your shit together. I hear you talking crap about me on the pre-show. That is the greatest timing in the history of calls. We'll move on forward and power forward, and then I will speak to management, of course, about no doubt future bookings. Jesus, that has derailed this. I am going to say, much to my chagrin, actually, no, not to my chagrin, because I love him anyway, Taylor James to pick up the win here. I think Taylor James picks up the win. I think that he is going to have just too much speed and ferocity for Lunatrix.
Yeah, as much as I rate Luna, and I think she deserves all the belts that she's got.
You just fancy her husband. I know what you're up to.
Well, you know.
Well, stop it. Oh, my God.
A goalie, a goalkeeper can save shots, but there is also a goal that you can score past.
There is. And as they say, Jesus saves, but Henri slams home the loose ball.
But yeah, well, I rate Luna, but I reckon Taylor's just going to be too powerful, too quick. Like, he's just going to be too good for her. But we will see. We will see.
We will see. Stranger things have happened, particularly when Matt Jackson. Hey?
He has the home advantage.
Yes, he does. Yes, she does. Taylor James does not have the home advantage, no. Although, to be fair, yeah, and that's the other thing as well. Let's factor in the fact that, you know, a lot of these guys are traveling over. The travel does take its toll on you as an athlete. It can exhaust you. And if you're traveling over to the Isle of Wight, which is not an easy excursion, considering you've got mainland travel, then a boat, then potentially a train, whatever it might be, it's a long business day and it can wear you down. Can Lunatrix take advantage of that? Because she literally lives around the corner. That could be a big advantage to a home field advantage. Can she make it count with the crowd behind her? Shifting gears again before Jackson Arrow blows up my inbox. This is going to be a lot of fun. And it's frankly a match that's laden with vitriol and story and perspective. A triple threat, no disqualification, elimination style match. So, of course, not 1 fall to a finish. There'll be 2 falls here with only 1 man left standing. Axel Chaos, formerly of the Cult of the Apocalypse, now a lone renegade, goes up against his former leader and mentor, the Virus Kane Michael, the brand new CWP County Champion. And the X Factor in this match, of course, the retro dude, Rudy Roo, who has struggled as of late. And of course, he's coming off the back of an incredible loss to Jackson Arrow, which meant that poor old Drew Wilson, for better or for worse, he's still aligned with Jackson Arrow. But also that means that Jackson Arrow is now the full-time GM and in control of decisions. And of course, Jackson Arrow could not wait to make this match. So he's thrown Rudy Roo into the fire to punish him, so to speak. Rudy Roo needs a win badly to get back on track. The Virus K. Michael doesn't care. He's looking to cause as much damage as possible and keep the ball rolling after an astonishing Anarchy Rules match, which he was unfortunately not the victor in. However, he did just a week later capture the CWP County Championship against Jackson Arrow and Rudy Roo, as well as 2 other marks. So this is how it's going to be. It's going to be no disqualification. It's going to be hard hitting. This is going to be a war. This is going to be a violent war between 3 men. There's a lot of X factors here. Do we see former members of the Cult of the Apocalypse? Do we see the still aligned with Virus Newt make an appearance? The one who never speaks, only in emojis. And does Rudy Roo have any help whatsoever? Because it seems like, as of late, it's just been Rudy Roo versus the world. Who do you see coming out of this triple threat as the victor and gaining valuable momentum in this company?
Well, the victor for me has got to be our fave, the Vero. The virus.
Oh, you're going to be in trouble, I'll tell you.
I know, he's going to kill me.
He's not happy after you called him Justin Bieber, to be fair.
Really?
Well, let's just say he's going to be doing more watch-alongs of your matches, honey.
Just to sting me back.
Absolutely. Let the shithousery commence. But yeah, from a combat standpoint, while you 2 are building to your online rivalry, you obviously fancy the Virus K. Michael to overcome the triple threat shenanigans in this match.
Yeah, I think even without Newt, I think he can pick up the win here. No one likes Rudy anyway, so I don't think he's going to get the win. He's not going to have any hand from backstage, and
nerd.
And I think experience wise, and through being clever, being a genius, it's got to be the Virus. If the Virus doesn't win this, I will be upset.
Well, there you go. That's a good choice. It's always a good choice because he's the most cerebral and dangerous athlete, in my opinion, in all of professional wrestling on the entire landscape. Dangerous. Very, very unsettling. Pain, uncertainty, and panic follows wherever he goes. And of course, he has Newt in tow as well. And we've seen what happens. Newt interfered in Anarchy Rules. That broke down into an absolute cluster muck. And of course, he also helped Newt by capturing a win over Axel Chaos at the last show. Therefore, Axel Chaos 0 for 1 in his vendetta against the former Cult of the Apocalypse members. And of course, Max Carnage, nowhere to be seen, hasn't been seen since he was destroyed by the virus K. Michael, actually, and had his opportunity at Island Warfare basically stolen and yanked out from under his feet. Goes to show you should always watch your back when the virus is around. So Axel Chaos has to win here. He has to win, because otherwise his vendetta falls flat. Otherwise, we're thinking, okay, what happened? You know, he's promising a lot on social media. He's talking about how he's going to kill the clown, how he's going to batter the retro dude if he gets in his way, and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of talk going on here. And Axel Chaos certainly looked that destructive way in that fatal four-way that we covered, until at the end he was caught completely off guard by the virus, and Newt managed to basically choke him out, make him pass out, make him submit. So you've submitted to the smallest member of the Cult of the Apocalypse. You've now got the virus, the most cerebral and dangerous athlete, staring at you across the ring. But you've also got the X factor of one of the most capable professional wrestlers the UK has in Rudy Roo, be it a nerd or not.
Yeah,
dangerous dynamics. I would always stray towards the virus, because he has the cerebral mentality that the other two, with all due respect, do not. They're a little bit too clean cut for this business, especially Rudy Roo. You got to be dirty. Rudy Roo is going to have to dig deep. He's going to have to find something a little bit more menacing. The whole retro dude high-fiving kids, handing out sunglasses, that ain't going to get it done against somebody with the dangerous, violent mentality of the virus K. Michael.
Oh, he's like, he will scare you in your nightmares. Like, he's terrifying.
Or your dreams, honey.
But when with Axel, we'll just have to see, because he can talk the talk. Can he walk the walk?
Yes, he can. Can he step up? We will find out. Now that just leaves a couple of bangers, frankly, for the Isle of Wight Championship. The Hunter Nero, who unfortunately was dethroned, at least from his perspective, at Anarchy Rules 3 at the last show, Event in Winter Gardens, by Scrappy Jack, will have an opportunity at revenge, because Scrappy Jack will defend the belt against him. Isle of Wight Championship 1-on-1. As far as we know, just a straight 1-on-1 match. No hardcore shenanigans, which is a bit of a surprise, because both of these men really thrive in violent environments. The last show was your first chance to take in what the Hunter Nero is all about. And obviously, Scrappy Jack, you've had some run-ins with him as of late. I also noticed that you rolled up Dirty Dave Dennis for his Dirty 24/7 championship, until you, of course, got the jump on him just to help out, because, well, frankly, you're a bunch of pussy holes and you need a large amount of people to beat even someone the size of Scrappy Jack up, which I think is quite embarrassing, frankly, but it is what it is. But we're not here to talk about the knobs, because they're not on this show. Let's talk about Scrappy Jack versus the Hunter Nero for the Isle of Wight Championship. Does Scrappy Jack retain, or does the Hunter Nero regain his championship at the first opportunity?
Personally, I reckon Scrappy will retain, unless it's going to be one of those hopscotch with the belt, because that's like the last three shows. It's changed hands with three people. You had the virus held it, then Nero took it from him, and now Scrappy's got it. So it seems like a little bit of a hopscotch game at the moment. But no, I reckon Scrappy will hold on to it. In all truth, looking at how he was in the Anarchy Rules match, I thought he'd done really well, and he sort of deserved the win. Obviously, I was rooting for my boy Virus, but that didn't happen. But no, I reckon if anyone's going to win it, it's got to be Scrappy.
Your boy that you call Justin Bieber, indeed. I mean, there is one thing that has to be said. Justin Bieber is definitely a boy, so I suppose you're half right there. He's definitely not a man, a little kid. But that's the difference right there. The virus is a man. Justin Bieber is not. This is an interesting dynamic. It's almost like these people are joined at the hip. Scrappy Jack, the Hunter, the virus, they're always in each other's paths. They're always in each other's way. They are always clashing. We saw them clash at Arnold Warfare 4. We're quite a way removed from that now, but they just cannot get away from each other. Who says that storytelling in wrestling isn't still alive? Ridiculous. This is going to be incredibly hard hitting despite the lack of weaponry. I genuinely believe that Scrappy Jack is now in the vein of form of his life. He has we can't really spoil it, but he has some big mainland matches coming up soon as well. But he also has finally captured the Isle of Wight Championship. It's been a while since he's held gold at Outcast. He's in the most high-profile matches, the most talked-about matches, and now he has this opportunity to cement himself and create a legacy with that belt, which only really the Virus K. Michael has ever done with the Isle of Wight Championship, and of course Rudy Roo, who was one of the very first champions. So those are the two kind of standout champions when you think of the Isle of Wight Championship. I think Scrappy Jack is now going to cement himself as the next in line, the next kind of big thing in terms of the Isle of Wight Championship, which in many ways is their Intercontinental Championship. And we've seen what being an Intercontinental Champion can do in the WWE. I feel like this could be the platform for him to get back to challenging for the heavyweight title later down the line.
I mean, it's well deserved if he does stay the champion, because he's a very good worker. You know, I feel like with Nero, all it is just like it needs to like dig deeper with the gimmick, because he's got the moves, he's got the pace. It just like a taller Undertaker. That's all it is.
Wow. Okay. This is not a watch along, darling. This is a pre-show. Yeah, the Hunter Nero does need to fine tune what he's doing out there, whatever he's in terms of mind games, but.
I'm watching him wrestle. I think he's a fantastic wrestler, though. I think he's brilliant.
Well, he has an opportunity here to prove everybody wrong. He has an opportunity to throw it back in our faces to a certain degree.
100%. And in a way, I hope he does. I hope he does.
Well, we will find out, and you will find out if you're watching. But the only way you can find out, of course, is by scanning the QR code that's been on the screen for the entirety of the show, or heading to the link in the description, because you can buy yourself a ticket for just a measly £8 to see all this incredible action. And of course, it all goes down tomorrow night at the Fever and Boutique nightclub on the Isle of Wight in Newport, no less, which I believe is, somewhat the capital of the Isle of Wight. Whether that's a good thing or not, I couldn't tell you personally. But that is not your main event. There is only one main event. There could be only one. Outcast Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. We know who the champion is. It's JJ Valera. And he has so far repelled all newcomers. He's deflected Aaron Warnes. He's deflected Kelly Six. He also captured the belt in a fatal four-way with the reigning champion at the time, Rudy Roo, Jackson Arrow, and Tucker of former WWE NXT fame. Crazy. So he's definitely got the resume. However, can he knock off arguably the most exciting high flyer in the world right now, just Joe Lando? Ain't no just about it, honey. Joe Lando is arriving at the island, and he has his sights firmly set on becoming Outcast Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. Who have you got?
I've got JJ. I've got I reckon he's going to do it on home advantage. And again, this is another one of them matches where it's going to be difficult to judge, because they're both, again, insane high flyers, and the roof is too low for them to be doing any high flying stuff. There's no 450 splashes that they're going to be able to do, no frog star splashes, nothing like that. They're going to have to do everything on the middle rope or on the floor, so it's going to be a different dynamic, but it's going to be exciting, it's going to be fast, it's going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer will be ferociously touching himself in the wank dungeon over this bad boy, especially if he gets privy to it. And somebody needs to send him a copy of this match, because it is going to slap. However, a lot of X factors here, like you've mentioned, the low ceiling being the most important one, because what it does is it disarms the ability for these guys to hit their top rope finishers. Shooting star, the shooting star splash, the Spanish fly, for instance, that JJ Valera is so regarded for. It's not going to be able to hit that from the top rope, therefore limiting the move's ability to cause damage. And the same with Joe Lando, his vaunted finisher, the shooting star elbow drop, which has to be seen to be believed. It's
insane.
The kid is crazy good. And he's going to the United States soon. Will he be going to the United States as Outcast Pro Wrestling champion? I would be tempted to say no. And the reason for that is because I believe that being limited in terms of coming off the top rope hampers his ability more than it does JJ Valera, because JJ Valera has already proven himself to work in that environment. He's already worked at Fever and Boutique. He's got the home field advantage. He's worked in this exact nightclub, this exact venue, multiple times against high-flying wrestlers like Aaron Warnes, and he was able to pick up the win. So he's already got that advantage. Joe Lando hasn't been in this building before. He may have wrestled in nightclubs before. We're not entirely sure if he's ever wrestled in an environment with this lower ceiling. No one's saying Joe Lando can't wrestle on the ground. He absolutely can. He's world class. But what we're saying is, I feel he has slightly more limitations. And that is what JJ Valera will have at his disposal and at his advantage. And I think that is what will help him retain the Outcast Pro Wrestling Championship. So it looks like we've both got JJ Valera. But like we've said, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to slap. It's £8, right? Now, I get it. Isle of Wight is difficult to get to, particularly if you obviously don't live on the Isle of Wight. There's ferries and things involved and stuff like that. But if you're watching this, if you're on the Isle of Wight and you haven't bought a ticket yet and you're umming and ahhing, come on, £8 for an entire evening's on a Thursday night as well. So something fun for you to do. I know it's a school night, but isn't it cool to go to school the next day, go to work the next day, have a little chat around the water cooler and talk about how you saw these insanely high-flying, world-class athletes do their thing in so many different varieties and so many different formats? Well, this is your best opportunity to do so. £8, scan the QR code on the screen. Make sure you check out the description of this YouTube channel, this video. If you go to the description, there's a link there as well, just in case, because not everybody's phones work and not everybody wants to scan a QR code because aliens. But the bottom line is, it's going to slap, and it's just £8. And if you can find any form of entertainment in the world that will give you 3 hours of sheer adrenaline lunacy like this for just £8, I'd love to see it, because I don't think it is available. Not even a great game of football is, even in the lowest of leagues, is going to get you £8 worth. It's going to be, it is easily the biggest bargain in all of sports entertainment and athleticism and sport in general. So you absolutely must check it out. Ebenezer, any final thoughts as we head towards no regrets? Any regrets of your own that you want to talk about?
No regrets here. Like, is there any regrets I should be regretting?
No, not really. Well, I mean, you've certainly made some questionable decisions in your life, but we'll see whether you have a regret of those later down the line. But the bottom line is, you can't have regrets going into an event like this, because if you do, you'll get caught out and probably get knocked out too at the same time. From myself, Aaron X, and from Ebenezer the Geezer, thank you very much for watching the Outcast Wrestling pre-show. We will be back with a review. At least I will be. It depends how quickly our boy over here can capture the footage. But good news for you, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a professional videographer on site, and there will be every single opportunity to watch these matches, because they will all be available for free on YouTube after the fact. And then once they have all been released, then we will be back to review the show. So we're definitely giving you your money's worth here at the Wrestle Plug. But like I've said, from myself, Aaron X, and especially from Ebenezer the Geezer, who you can definitely check out on social media, check out the descriptions for that as well. We will catch you very soon for more content and more shithousery from Outcast Professional Wrestling and the Wrestle Plug.
Enjoy.